Hi, IS515. I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain what I did for my project, to kind of show you how I organized the information and what I learned from the course to make it a little better, to make it organized a little better, and to present the information so people could understand it. So this is a spreadsheet that I started this year. I had a New Year's resolution to keep track of my finances and how I spend my money and how I earn my money. So as you can see here, it is organized according to income and expenses, and it's kind of broken up into several categories. Basically, every time that I participate in a transaction, I list it on the spreadsheet, and in one of the various tabs that I have, just to keep track of transactions. Some descriptions are there when it's necessary. Otherwise, it's just and also maybe a receipt or two to describe what the purchase was for, or just provide proof of larger amounts. And so those amounts are detailed on the individual categories. However, they're summarized here just by links to the or by summing up the columns. So that was one of the tools I used, is by summing up the columns and putting the totals in column B. And so one of the main tools that I used is conditional formatting, which, as you can see here, using data bars and color scales and other formula rules in order to really track how well I'm doing on a particular month, or for the data bars in specific, how much of my assets, income, or expenses is allocated to which category. And so I use that formatting technique to detail that. In addition, I decided to represent the information using some of the charting techniques that we learned. One of the in the categorized expenses, I just used a pie chart in order to represent it very clearly with the amounts and the categories, and I just used some of the formatting features to make it a little pretty. This second one is the total assets year to date. I decided to use the secondary axis to summarize this information here, the total assets and the gain and loss for each month, and to really track how my assets are moving over time, in addition to whether I do well in a month or not. So that's represented by the red line, and then the blue line continues to track the total assets. And so by those conditional formatting and charting techniques, it's able to present the information a little bit better for me to understand it, at least. Lastly, I wrote a function for, I wrote a formula for a transaction counter to kind of track how many transactions I participate in throughout the year. Obviously, if I can limit that amount, that would be ideal, just to save on my expenses. So I did this by referencing each B column and naming them as we learned, and then using the final count function to kind of sum those all up and see how many transactions. And as we know, the count function tracks how many cells have numerical values in them. So every time I input a new transaction, that number should update as well. And yeah, that's my project. I just spent a little time cleaning up the data and organizing it a little better so I can understand it easier. Thank you.